There was a time when men's tennis was a duopoly. Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal had a stranglehold on the sport that seemed unbreakable. Between them, they had won every Grand Slam since 2005. They were tennis royalty. Federer, the elegant artist, and Nadal, the fearless warrior. Then came a 20-year-old Serbian with a sharp tongue, a chest-thumping celebration, and no interest in playing second fiddle. January 27th, 2008. The Australian Open final. Novak Djokovic versus Frenchman Jo-Wilfried Tsonga. This wasn't just a Grand Slam final. This was a hostile takeover. It was the moment Djokovic broke the Roger-Rafa stranglehold, and in doing so, became the outsider tennis fans loved to hate. But to understand why this match changed everything, and why Djokovic's rise felt so uncomfortable, you have to go back, way back, to the war-torn streets of Belgrade. Novak Djokovic was born on May 22nd, 1987, in Belgrade, Yugoslavia, a nation already on the verge of collapse. In the 1990s, as the country disintegrated in bloody civil war, Serbia faced bombings, sanctions, blackouts, and food shortages. Novak was playing tennis in empty swimming pools. He was practicing to the sound of sirens and air raids. In interviews, he recalled practicing with his brothers while NATO bombs fell during the 1999 Belgrade airstrikes.
I remember I was celebrating my 12th birthday party at the tennis club Partizan where I grew up, and during the happy birthday song there was a plane just flying over. You can't really comprehend how horrifying and scary that experience is, and how helpless you are. You are here on the ground and someone is flying over and just dropping bomb in a second and just disappearing.
Imagine being 12 years old, sprinting through debris just to get to practice. Where other kids had ball machines, Novak had chaos. Where others had coaches, he had survival. His first coach, Jelena Guncic, the same woman who once coached Monica Seles, immediately saw something different in Novak. But this golden child didn't come from wealth or tennis pedigree. His parents ran a restaurant and ski shop in a ski resort town. They went into debt to fund his training, traveling across Europe in beat-up cars, and sleeping in budget motels just so Novak could chase his dream. And he wasn't chasing it in Spain or the US. He was from Serbia, a country viewed as a tennis outcast at the time. No slam champions, no tradition, no support system, just raw talent and audacious ambition. Fast forward to the mid-2000s. Roger Federer was at his peak. Between Wimbledon 2003 and the 2008 Australian Open, he had won 12 Grand Slams. 12. He moved like silk, his footwork was ballet, his forehand was a religious experience. Meanwhile, Rafael Nadal was the gladiator, bursting onto the scene in 2005, winning Roland Garros as a teenager, and becoming Federer's greatest nemesis. In 2006 and 2007, total domination between the two. And from the 2005 French Open to the 2007 US Open, every single slam was won by either Federer or Nadal. That's 11 consecutive Grand Slams. They were fire and ice, the unstoppable rivalry. The tennis establishment had its heroes. Then, here comes Djokovic. Djokovic's rise up the ATP rankings was fast. In 2006, he cracked the top 100. By 2007, he made the US Open final, losing to Federer in straight sets, but making a strong impression. And then came Melbourne 2008. He was fitter, stronger, more mature, and most of all, confident. He cruised through the draw in Melbourne, barely dropping sets. And in the semifinal, he met none other than Roger Federer. Federer was the defending champion, the number 1 seed, and the tennis god. Djokovic didn't blink. He dismantled Roger in straight sets, 7-5, 6-3, 7-6. It wasn't just the scoreline, it was the swagger. Novak stared Federer down. He bounced like a boxer between points. He celebrated loudly. He brought the Balkan fire, and for the first time in years, Federer looked unsettled. Commentators were stunned. This wasn't supposed to happen. Roger didn't lose in Australia. He was untouchable there. But Djokovic had ended an 11 slam run between Roger and Rafa. He had cracked the code. And fans? Well, they weren't too happy about it. But why? Because Novak wasn't like them. He didn't quietly bow to the legends. He mocked them with impersonations. He roared after winners. He challenged the status quo. And fans, used to Roger's grace and Rafa's humility, found Djokovic's confidence jarring. But Novak? He didn't care. He wanted to win. And he wasn't going to apologize for it. In the final, Djokovic faced Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, a charismatic Frenchman who had shocked everyone by defeating Nadal in the semifinals. Tsonga was flashy, explosive, and beloved by the Aussie crowd. So when the final began, Rod Laver Arena wasn't neutral. It was Tsonga's home turf. And when Tsonga won the first set 6-4 with big serves and net rushes, the crowd erupted. But Djokovic didn't panic. He adjusted. He extended rallies. He returned everything. He frustrated Tsonga into errors. And over the next 3 sets, Novak broke him down, winning 4-6, 6-4, 6-3, 7-6 to claim his first Grand Slam title. It was a masterclass in mental resilience. Novak Djokovic became the first Serbian man to win a Grand Slam. It was history. But instead of instant universal adoration, Djokovic walked into a media storm. Crowds had booed him in the final. Commentators criticized his medical timeouts. The press called him cocky, arrogant, and disrespectful. Let's be honest, the tennis world wasn't ready for Novak Djokovic. He didn't fit the Federer-Nadal mold. He joked too much, he screamed too loud, he celebrated too fiercely. He had chest slaps, impersonations, and a damn chip on his shoulder. And in an era when fans had chosen their side, Roger or Rafa, Djokovic was the intruder. A lot of fans resented him for breaking the once beloved duopoly. Even after that first slam, he was often the third wheel, ignored by broadcasters, dismissed by analysts, and booed at major events. He was the outsider, but Novak used that as fuel. Over the next few years, Djokovic's career was solid, but not dominant. He struggled with stamina and allergies. He made slam finals but couldn't always finish the job. He had a reputation for retiring mid-match, which critics used to brand him as soft.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll be diplomatic, but we're kind of surprised also with the heat getting into him like that and seeing him stop.
Well, I mean, it's happened before. So, I mean, it's not the guy who's never given up in his career, you know. So that's kind of disappointing to see, you know, when you got 2 top guys playing each other and you give up. I mean, he gave it up against me in Monaco this year because of last year because of sore throat. Yeah, so I mean, those are kind of things, you know, you wonder about. I've only given up basically once in my career. That came just now in Paris against Blake when I couldn't move because of my back, you know. But I think Andy pushed him there, and Andy probably would have run away anyway with the match. So I think Andy completely deserved the match.
But behind the scenes, Novak was transforming. He changed his diet, cut out gluten, dairy, and sugar. He committed to mental training and visualization. He restructured his team and prioritized fitness. And then came 2011, the year everything changed. Novak Djokovic went 70-6 that season. He won 3 Grand Slams and 10 titles, including 5 Masters 1000s. He beat Nadal 6 times and Federer 4 times. Suddenly, the so-called villain was the most dominant player in the world. But the fans still conflicted. Despite his brilliance, Djokovic rarely had the full crowd behind him, especially in Grand Slam finals. He was the best, but not the most loved. So why do we call the 2008 Australian Open final the match that made Djokovic a villain? Because it marked the end of innocence in men's tennis. Until then, the Federer-Nadal era had felt like a beautiful rivalry. Mutual respect, elegance, and artistry. Djokovic came in with teeth. He ended the fairy tale. He didn't wait his turn, he took what he believed was already his. And fans don't forget that. Just ask the ones who still cheer louder for his opponents. But here's the thing, villains aren't always evil. Sometimes they're just unapologetically ambitious. Sometimes they show up in your story and rewrite the ending. And Novak Djokovic, he wasn't trying to be liked. He was trying to be the greatest. And now, in 2025, with 24 Grand Slams, a double career Grand Slam, and the most weeks at number 1 in tennis history, he already is. And before we continue, if you're enjoying this breakdown, do us a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to Hot Take Tennis. Only 8% of our viewers are actually subscribed. So if you want more deep dives like this, real stories, bold takes, and long-form tennis content, then join the crew. We've got plenty more fire on the way. It's poetic that Djokovic's first Grand Slam was won in defiance. Defiance of tradition, defiance of fan expectations, defiance of the narrative. He didn't walk into tennis royalty. He stormed the gates and took the crown. And in doing so, he created a new kind of legend. One not built on love, but on relentlessness. Not on approval, but on obsession. Not on applause, but on history. The 2008 Australian Open didn't just launch Novak Djokovic's career, it created his identity. The outsider, the disruptor, the villain turned GOAT. And no matter how many more slams he wins, that final will always be the moment the tennis world realized he's not here to play nice. He's here to take over. See you next time.
Bora.